Thousands of people will have their last day at Amazon this week, and more layoffs could be on the way.
Two of the region's biggest tech employers are cutting hundreds of jobs, sending ripple effects through Washington's tech-heavy economy.
This week, Meta announced more than 300 of their own.
Amazon and T-Mobile are slashing positions across the state, including major cuts in Bellevue and Seattle.
A workforce change of this scale has ripple effects on the community, on individual employees and families and businesses that rely on the foot traffic.
Monday was the first day more than 2,300 Amazon workers were laid off.
As companies grapple with emerging trends, we hope this pain is short-term.
Thousands more Amazon workers could be laid off, though not all in Seattle.
We need employers who are responsibly thinking about how they support workers in this environment.
The corporate layoffs at Amazon, not only Amazon, you've got Expedia, you've got T-Mobile, and a handful of others. They are clipping employees like we're in a recession, which I think we are. I think we're in specifically a tech recession here in Western Washington, Seattle region, because we had the pandemic and everybody was going to work from home forever. And we were all going to consume all of this stuff that we normally wouldn't because we couldn't leave our houses. At least that's what they told us. I did anyway. I came to the office every single day. I didn't give a damn. They're not going to tell me to stay home. I'm just not. But a lot of people didn't have that option. But since the whole pandemic has, it just rocked the economy because all businesses were closed down, except for the big corporations. They were allowed to stay open. Large grocery stores, Costco. Yeah, you guys are open. Small little shops. Nope, all closed. Crazy, right? But this rocked the economy. And now we don't have enough employees in the downtown cores for all the taxation that needs to happen. And at the same time, you got a socialist mayor. We've got a millionaire tax being proposed. We've got a statewide employee tax, basically a head tax. I mean, we got all kinds of headwinds going. And as this is happening, Amazon says we're going to cut 2,198 jobs from the Seattle and Bellevue areas. And a lot of those are software engineers. Let's read the story. Here we go. Amazon layoffs at nearly 2,200 in Washington state, more than half in core product and engineering roles. If you're not familiar with core product and engineering roles, that is the meat and potatoes of how they figure out how to get stuff done at big tech companies. You need those guys. You got those guys just wailing away on code, in some cubbyhole, making $1 million a year, making a few hundred stock options and all that, whatever, right? We call them tech bros. Well, they're getting fired. Not to say that, this is a massive whack to Amazon's employee base. It's not, but it's a whack to Seattle's employee base. It's a whack to Bellevue's employee base for sure. But what I can't help think is that with all the craziness you've got going on in Seattle and then in Olympia at the state level, we've just got socialism. We've got communism going on. Why wouldn't companies who are looking to make a little pullback, why wouldn't they say, you guys are fired. We got to downsize here. We got to eliminate our backside exposure, which is whole bunch of employees in Washington state. Amazon's laying off 2,198 employees across Washington. Detailed list with the Washington file shows software development roles, largest share of the layoffs, engineering management, program management, and technical product roles also hit hard. Now, in the first, back in October, the first round was announced. You had mainly management roles. Here, you've got tech bros just fired. In total, more than half the cuts impact Amazon's core product and engineering organizations. You got business intelligence, sales, marketing, infrastructure, QA, HR, design, and other support functions. Senior and principal level employees were also affected. So basically this first round was management. This one is just about anybody. Majority of the cuts, more than 1,400, impact workers in Seattle. And there's a clip of the 𝗣𝗣𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨. She is our, congressional whatever. She's in oh, she's terrible. She's awful. And she's like, well, now more than ever, we need to make sure that Seattle employers are being careful to take care of the employees. Well, they're firing people because you're an anti-business leadership system in Seattle and Washington State. You guys hate business. You hate big business. You're doing everything you can to push out business. And guess what? It's working. Way to go. Nice job, guys. Way to go, Bob Ferguson. Way to go, Attorney General. Way to go, new mayor of Seattle. It's working. You guys are doing it. Way to go. Socialism works for those who don't. Yeah, there you go. Cuts are part of Amazon's company-wide layoffs, 16,000 total. 14,000 worker layoff in October, 27,000 workers globally in 2022 and 2023. Are these all specifically because Washington State is retarded? No, they're not. But it sure doesn't help that Washington State is retarded, does it? No. Because you're gonna have leadership, you're gonna have ownership making decisions based on, well, what if we put those folks in Tennessee? What if we put those folks in Texas? What if we put those folks in Oklahoma City? What if we do those kind of moves? That is what's going on right now, because the billionaires, they're already gone. They're like the billionaires down in California. They're already 1 foot out the door, if not 2, on their jet. Right? They're gone. Millionaires in Washington State, same thing. I'm having conversations with so many people about, oh, yeah, it might be a time to exit stage left myself. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that going. More to come on that. As part of the October cuts last year, Amazon laid off 2,300 in Washington State. Boo-hoo. Between the two layoffs, Amazon laid off more than 4,500 corporate workers. It's happening. The tech bloodletting is here. And these things go in cycles, right? This isn't just because we've got retarded leadership. It's not because of that, but it is business cycle. It's a reaction to what happened during the pandemic, and it was a massive up, boom, and now we're experiencing the down. But I can't help but think that with the way that the elections have gone, specifically in Washington State and in Seattle in particular, this is some of this is tech, some of this is business pushback to, yeah, that doesn't really work with the whole socialism thing, doesn't really work with our long-term goals, which is profitability. That's numero uno, right? Return to shareholders, those basic business concepts. Socialism doesn't work with that. T-Mobile layoffs. Telecom giant cuts 393 jobs across Washington State, including VP roles. Cuts are getting real. Cuts are getting real. You know, folks in the tech industry, they're kind of used to this, but we haven't experienced this for a long time. This hasn't happened for a long time because it's just been all boom, 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 meaning business is booming. And I think we had year after year after year after year of growth. And then with the pandemic, Amazon doubled its employee base. Now we're coming back to reality. All that pandemic money is gone. It's all been spent. And here we are. Oh, we don't really need all those employees, let alone talking about AI. AI is going to wipe out so many of these jobs because it's literally being automated to take people's roles. So all these commies, all these socialists babbling on about taking care of employees, that ain't going to happen. This is natural evolution of business. I'm sorry to say. And if you're one of those ones that got fired, that sucks. But it's not how well you do when you're up. It's not ever about that. It's how well you do when you pivot. It's how well you do when you decide, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to become a podcaster, right? It's how well you make that move. That's what it comes down to. And that is literally what life comes down to, right? Because if you're in the tech industry, you're more than likely going to get fired a bunch of times. That's how it goes. I grew up in an era where all the dads had jobs for 30 years and they retired. They got the gold watch and then they had a heart attack after 2 years because they were so bored and their bodies just went, you know what I mean? That was a thing. Like the old dudes, they died or they had strokes. They had strokes because they just didn't know what to do because they'd spent every day just going to that job, that same job, 30, 35 years. And then all of a sudden, Expedia announces new round of layoffs impacting 162 tech roles. This is Microsoft. This is Expedia Travel. I use Expedia a lot. I love Expedia. You know why? Because I can understand it. I can deal with the workflow. Yeah, I need to add a flight to that. I think Expedia is great. You might think it's terrible because Bill Gates gave his wife an STD and then, asked Jeffrey Epstein to give him some give him some medication so they didn't, give it to his wife even more, even though he was giving it to a lot of really young ladies. I still like Expedia. I like it, in spite of Bill Gates' dalliances on the Lolita Express. But let's keep going. Amazon layoffs set to hit Washington corporate workforce hard as AI reliance grows. And I think this is as much to blame as anything because AI, if you follow AI, if you are using AI, I mean, Claudebot, right, is one of your the newest buzzwords. But you've got so many. I use Perplexity a lot in my workflow because my producer said, hey, Sean, I'm putting this on your laptop and you're going to need to use it. And I'm like, okay. And here we are. I'm struggling through it. I'm getting there. But some of these tools, they are amazing. The technology that you have now, the ability to take random concepts and put them into a one sentence, the ability to generate thumbnails, the ability to generate titles, the ability to do searches. Hey, which topic is going to be best for my News for Reasonable People audience? Those kinds of things that, you didn't think about before. And you can take that and on a large scale, basically automate so many processes that you don't have to have as many employees to do the same job. It's there, right? It's happening. Tech layoffs drive Seattle area unemployment above 5%. Ooh. Yeah, we've got some high unemployment in Washington State, in Seattle. Even though we're going to win the Super Bowl, got some layoffs happening. You got some firings going off. Go Hawks, by the way. Go Hawks. So as this unfolds, this couldn't be a worse time for the Seattle mayor, who is reliant upon the greater collective warmth of the whatever, right? That ain't happening. That isn't happening. You are losing companies, you are losing jobs because people are fearful of what's coming with socialism. And they're very, very, very right to be afraid of that. And on a greater level, take that and expound that to the state. Yeah, we're not going in the right direction. We are literally going in the polar opposite direction of success for business. Because our leadership, not only at the state level, but at the city level and the county level, they're more concerned about losing a teacher at the education level of elementary school, middle school, than they are of a business owner who employs 20 people. They don't give a damn about the business owner. But by God, due to socialism, they are really concerned about that teacher. Now, I don't want to see any teachers get fired, except for all the libtards. They can go away. You guys can just fly away. You guys have ruined more minds. You just literally have. You guys just ruined people's minds. Nice job. Way to go. And then guys like me have to come back and kind of go, this is reality. This is what happens when you tell an entire business industry that you need to pay more, whether or not the economics make sense. And that is Seattle in a nutshell. Seattle consistently has the highest of the highs of everything, right? Highest of the highs. New state payroll tax could drive jobs out of Washington. Gee, you think? How about Washington State's lawmakers join other states in proposing a millionaire's tax? I mean, Washington State couldn't be working any harder to kick businesses out. I don't know what else you'd do. What else would you do to basically say, businesses, get the F out? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many other, pieces of proposed legislation you need to have to scream from the mountaintops, don't come run your business here. What other cues do businesses need? They don't. And that's why I think you're seeing some of these firings happen. And I think you're going to see a bunch more down the road, because why would you want to do business in Washington State? It used to be because we had low taxes, cheap real estate, massive opportunity. Microsoft was already here. Amazon was working its way up. But now those are all established companies and they can go anywhere they want. Their leadership already has. Jeff Bezos, yep, Florida. See ya, Jeff. Nah, this is the downturn that everybody has been talking about, and it is happening in real time. And it's because of decisions that are being made at leadership roles, and it's because of policy, chosen policy. And with all of the absolute bloat in Washington State, you're going to have to keep raising taxes. And none of the Democrats running Washington State, they're not going to reel it in. They're just not. So this is inevitable. This is going to continue, and I'll podcast it for you. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining. We'll catch up in the next one. Bye for now.